Hey guys, thanks for tuning into my channel. My name's Max Convexity. Let's look at this end of the day price action in the Defiance option strategy funds. Let's start with the spreadsheets, or let's start with the charts. All right, so here's the chart for NDX. But you can see it was not a great day for NDX, not a great way to start the year. It was down more than 2% at one point. I think it may have rallied but it still closed way down. It did rally a little bit on the close, but it is still not good. Not a good day at all. All right, so let's see what happened spreadsheet-wise. I have the new spreadsheets built. Let me know if you guys catch any errors. I made them just like the old spreadsheets, pretty much just like the old spreadsheets, because I like the simplicity of my old spreadsheets. I do have some stuff that updates automatically in here that I don't have to do anymore. So I made them a little easier on me. But as far as for you guys go, it should be the same easy to read spreadsheet, or that's the idea. All right, so these guys, they trade NDX options. They sold 164 at the 16,870 level for $63 and change. So you subtract 63 from 16,870, that leaves a break even of 16,806. So we needed to at least close at 16,806 to break even for the day. And as you can see, the closing price was 16,543.94. So that meant that was 326 points in the money, meaning that the difference between 16,543 and 16,870 is 326 points. So that's what we had to pay to close them. We received $63 for the options, and we paid $326 to close them. So the difference is our loss, and it's 4.3 million. That we lost 1.5%, which is 28 cents a share. I did make some changes up here. All right, so the average capture, I'm still going to keep track of. This one's not doing very good this month. We're losing 0.36. I'm not going to use this to calculate the earnings at the end of the month anymore, the dividend. Last month, my dividend was, if I would have just looked at earnings per share, I think it was off by 1 cent on the NASDAQ, and it was close on the other ones too. So earnings per share, that factors in the share count. So on an earnings per share basis, we're down 25 cents a share so far in the month. So this is your cheerleading number here. I look at this to see how efficient they're trading options. This number does mean something. This is how well the option strategy is going. But because it doesn't factor in share count, it doesn't tell the whole picture. So that's why I'm not going to project anything with that number. And I'm not really trying to project anything with earnings per share. Earnings per share are just, they are what they are. And this is cumulative earnings per share. So by the time we get to the end of the month, this should be, pretty damn close to the dividend. That's the idea. It'll have the shares factored in, and it has the earnings factored in. Somebody suggested that I make it's not a bad idea, I thought about myself, that I make another column that shows if the fund's assets are growing, or maybe I could do it on the shares. It's the same difference. I could measure, how much the fund shares have grown since the beginning of the month. In this case, this is up about 500,000. So what is that? That's 3%. It's about 3%. So we got into problems last month because we had an 800% increase in share count on IWMY. 3% isn't going to matter. Even 50% is not going to matter. That's going to be fine. Not to mention that the earnings per share will tell the full story. So for now, I'm going to hold off on that column. It's not a bad idea. We have to really watch it on new funds. When you have a fund that's super small, like IWMY, let's look at last month's spreadsheet on IWMY. They started the year with the month with only $7 million under management. So it doesn't take a whole lot of money to get an 8x, growth in assets under management. They only have 300,000 shares. So it doesn't take very many people to buy shares to get an explosive growth in share count, which is what made my estimate off. Now, it's not the fund's fault or anything. It's just it was that I was dumb enough to take this average daily capture and multiply it out. This did show they were having a good month trading options, and that's great. Two things can be true at the same time. But if I would have been looking at earnings per share exclusively, then it would have told the whole story. And I know extrinsic's important also. Generally, extrinsic and intrinsic are pretty close to the same number anyway. Let me see if I have a way to show you that. Anyway, as we get closer to the end of the month, I will start breaking it out in extrinsic and intrinsic. But earnings per share tells a pretty good story. What else do I have to tell you guys on this? Yeah, this is what got me in trouble. This damn number last month, because I multiplied that times 20 days. And that's great. I mean, that is true. They were doing a great job trading options, but when they had to split the money with more and more people as they were coming in later in the month, you know, there was, just say everyone has an average of 1,000 shares or 10,000 shares. Let's just say, to make it easy, everyone has 10,000 shares. So there was 37 people to split the money with at the start of the month. And then at the end of the month, there was 295 people to split this money with. That kind of share growth is just really explosive. I don't see that happening this month because we're already starting with high numbers. Look at QQQY. QQQY is $250 million right now. For it to have the same kind of share growth as IWMY had last month, it means this fund would be bigger than JEPY or some of the, than QYLD. And that's just not going to happen in 1 month, especially if we keep having days like today. Days like today will probably make people sell it, which is, I'm not saying they should, but that'll also keep the share count down if we have a bad month here or there. The reason the share count went up so much last month is because everyone could see we were having a good month in IWMY and people wanted a piece of the action. And that's totally reasonable, but yeah, so I'm going to monitor the share count like a hawk. Let's look at JEPY. See, JEPY is a $100 million fund, so it would have to grow to $700 million to get in the same problem that we had last time. And so far this month, it's actually shrunk a little bit. So it's just, I think that's going to be a one-time anomaly. And here's where we're going to watch out for it. As soon as they introduce a new fund, let's say as soon as this, the next Yield Max fund comes out, this AIYY, or I think that's what it's called, or the YMAX. As soon as that comes out, the first month, because it's going to start from a low number, because when it's introduced, not very many people have it. That very first month or two, it might be a good time to watch out for excessive dilution. But, and I will, and I'll keep an eye on all that stuff. All right, so let's look at JEPY. All right, so JEPY, they sold 221 options at the 47.80 level. They got $12 and change. You subtract $12 and change from 47.80, you get 47.67 and change. All right, that means they were going for 273,000 if they had had a good day today, but they ended up losing 548,000. Now this day wasn't near as bad as NDX. I guess everyone just wanted to get out of the tech stocks at once today. All right, so yeah, this was not a great day, but it was on a relative basis, it was a little stronger than the NDX. All right, so let's look over here, IWMY. And well, let's look, okay, so let's see how much money we're managing right now. Okay, 61 million, still not a huge fund. I mean, so I'm going to keep an eye on this. And in fact, look, it has grown already 50% this month. I mean, I have a feeling they're going to lose some of these people. But I did a study on it, and it can even grow 2 or 3 times, and it's not a problem. But it can't grow 7 or 8 times. Then you're going to have a massive problem. The thing is, the earnings per share number will pick up on that. So I'm not going to be fooled by it again. What did George Bush say? Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, never going to do it again, or something. That guy's a classic. He's one of my favorites as far as he just doesn't have the ability to speak very well. He was no Obama when it came to the ability to speak. All right, so let's see here. These guys on the IWMY, they trade Russell options. They sold 513, which is a lot. Anyway, because if you look, a lot of people bought in on X day. So they sold them at the 2040 level for 16 change. Now that's not right. I have a feeling that's not right, because wasn't that the same number that the SPX did? No, that was 12 and change. Okay. All right, I thought I had my first error of the new spreadsheet. It's going to happen. I'm trying to automate this as much as possible, so they're trying to take the errors out of there, but it's always a possibility. All right, so you take 16 away, 16 and change away from 2040, you get 2023 and change. So they were going for $838,000. They ended up losing $500,000. These contracts went 27 points in the money. So let's look at the chart. All right, so this was the strongest one of the three. For a while, it was even in the profit box. So anyway, maybe we'll have a better day tomorrow. Who knows? We can only hope so. Any of you guys buy the dip today? I know there's people that have been wanting to get in but haven't yet, me being one of them. I said I was going to get in before the end of the year, and then I chickened out because the thing was so high. I'm better at telling people what to do than actually taking my own advice. That's a problem I've always had. So anyway, maybe tomorrow, look at buying the dip. All right, guys. Well, like I say, I'm sorry about the bad news. Hopefully tomorrow will be a better day. You guys have an excellent evening, and I will talk to you tomorrow.